welcome back to Less Lethal Contingencies. Alan here. Today we're going to have another episode of the Experimental Zone, where we try out new stuff for the first time. Experimentation, radical ideas, things like that. Anyways, so today we're going to be going back down that path that I already explored a little bit in the Experimental Zone with the IntruBuster Generation 2, using it with the Valken CAR stock, expansion stock. And you remember that video we had, a test I did with on the 24 grams combined CO2, where I had one in the handle, and then I had a single 12 gram that I had spun into the Valken CAR stock. And we got somewhere around 50 joules, I think it was, 49 joules. Shooting the 8 gram, much smaller for that. The ART 8 gram rounds I think we were shooting. I think it was somewhere around 50 joules or something. So we're gonna explore that again. But this time we're gonna use something that's definitely gonna be more bore match, right? At that time I thought I was under the impression that the IntruBuster Gen 2 barrel was actually a 6.86. Incorrectly so. I've been corrected. It's actually a 6.89. Since then, I also have purchased these 11 gram Riot Balls on Amazon, and they're actually pretty large. They're a steel ball that's rubber coated, so I did lubricate these. I don't know if you can see the shine on them. Did lubricate them to help in feeding, but I did shoot these once before in another video. I think actually another episode of Experimental Zone. If not, might have been under the IntruBuster Gen 2 playlist. One of those two places if you want to go back and look at it. But yeah, we're going to shoot this ammunition again because technically this ammunition is pretty much ball matched with the 6.89 barrel. This is coming in or slipping nice and easy through a 6.87 on the ball gauge. So we're going to try it again. But not only are we going to use larger ammunition and heavier ammunition, being that they're 11 grams, we're also going to be, instead of the single 12 gram in the Valken CAR stock, or the Valken CAR stock, we're going to be using the Umerix 2x 12 gram adapter. Okay, this little animal right here. Okay, I already punctured it upstairs in the office, so to make sure I had a good puncture, and it's sitting at it looks to be about 800 psi here. Okay, so I have one of these MCS 8890 gram on and offs with the gauge. So that's on here now. So this is what we're going to use. We're going to puncture the 12 gram in the handle first, and then I'll go ahead and actually no, I can't do that. I take that back. I'm going to spin this on first, and then I'm going to go ahead and puncture the 12 gram in the handle, and then we'll turn this on when we're ready to shoot, which will give us a combined 36 grams of CO2. And we'll see if we get any better results. Last time with just the 24, that 112 gram that I had connected to the Valken CAR stock was kind of, I was asking too much from that 112 gram because that's a very large expansion chamber in there. So the idea is this time that the 212 grams that we have in the adapter here will fill that expansion chamber, and we won't lose too much pressure. Right now we're sitting around 800 psi. Okay. Hey, that's my thought process anyways. This is the Experimental Zone. So we're getting kind of crazy. We're going to try some fun stuff today. So we're going to try this again. All right. Let's see if I can get that light. There we go. To turn back on. All right. And assuming we got a good double puncture on this, which I think so. I got my plastic washer in there, spacer, to assist in proper puncture on these here. Incidentally, you can still hear them jiggle around. no matter what I put in there. So, but it looks to be punctured. Oh, besides the fact that I got 800 psi on the gauge, another good indication when if you guys have these is that you'll see not only the two larger indentations here, but this center circular indentation that should be sticking way out like that. On the other side, you can see it's sticking way out. That's a good indicator right there as well that I probably got them both punctured. So, all right, so let's air it or gas it up first. Okay, so we have our IntruBuster Generation 2, brought to you by Mercury Rise, and we have our adjustable Valken CAR stock here, okay, that I have introduced the fitting on here, so it would accept the what is it, the G half-inch typical paintball or air tank adapters. Okay, and all this right in here, from here to about here, is actually an expansion chamber. Okay, maybe if I take this off, it might be helpful for some of us. Yeah, let me do that. There we go. Just slid that off. For those that aren't familiar with this, so what you have here is this whole tube, okay, is expansion. All right, so you got a nice tube in here. I did drill out somewhat. It's not opened up as much as it could be, but I think it was like a 3/8 drill bit, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But I did drill out inside here to open it up for a little bit better airflow. I should probably explore that again and maybe drill it out some more. Right now, we're not aired up, so let me just give you an idea. This end cap actually comes off too, which comes in handy if you want to clean these things out once in a while, or if you're doing any kind of drilling and you want to get all those shavings out. So, yeah. So that end cap actually comes out. You won't see that unless you take the stock off of it. Okay, off of the tube, right? And there's a couple O-rings in there. Never had a problem with these O-rings sealing, but I did take it out one day when I was drilling it. Cleaned it all out really good, lubricated everything, so haven't had any leaks with it. All right, and then you have your stock. Of course, if you wanted a different style stock, a mil-spec stock here, you could get, there's a number of different options out there, and you can put it on there. And then let's see. There we go. All right, and then you get like a couple adjustments on here. What is it, like 4 adjustments, I think. Yeah. That's the full length right there. You get 4 adjustments. I got this at Rockstar Tactical. That's where I got this. I don't know if they still have them or not, but if you Google the Valken CAR stock, that's C-A-R, capital C, capital A, capital R, you can find these. They usually have like a little 8mm male fitting over here for a quick connect. So they're really helpful if you want to use them with a remote line, which is what I've used this for before. Or you can rig up something like this, like I did here, if you want to be able to put a HBA tank on, or in the case of what we're going to do today, a 2x 12 gram. All right, so I'm just going to spin this on. Like I said, this is pre-punctured. The gauge is showing about 800 psi. We'll put that on. Looks good. And before I air it up over here, I'm just going to puncture the 12 gram in the handle first. Let's see. Should be tight. Make sure we don't have any leaks. Everything sounds normal. Yeah. You know what? The bolt did activate, but I think, but I forget not having an on and off over here in advance of this restriction that I put in a couple videos ago. I had to add some restriction because I was getting auto fire first time I used this on the 800 HPA. So I introduced a tank extension, which has these little holes in it, and that introduced some restriction in there and corrected the auto fire that I was having with this. But not having it on and off over here, this cartridge just backfilled this whole chamber. So, but once we turn this on, we'll have the addition of another 24 grams. So combined, no matter what, no matter which way you shake it, combined, we're going to have 36 grams here. Okay, we just punctured this one. These are pre-punctured. I'm going to turn them on in a minute. Actually, I'm going to turn them on right now. And you'll probably hear some airflow since it's close to my Bluetooth here. A little bit of a airflow. I don't know if you heard it or not, but let's see what the gauge says now. So it did drop down from 800 a little bit. It looks like it's about 700. Hard to tell with this little mini gauge. Let's see. It's hard for me to figure out which way I got the gauge going. There we go. Yeah, it's about 700 psi. So typical. That's about what I've been getting out of these cartridges. All right, so I'm going to put this down here. Again, this thing is a screamer. Very loud. Always wear ear protection if you care to keep your hearing. Good idea. All right, I'm going to put my hearing protection in, and we're going to shoot off. I actually brought down 2 magazines, 6 rounds in each magazine of those 11-gram Riot Balls, with the hopes that we're going to be able to shoot more than 1 magazine. If not, so be it. But I got 2 mags. There we go. All right. Let's turn this on first. The laser going. Everything's on. All right, obviously this is with the factory 4.5-inch barrel. Again, 689 barrel. I'm calling these 687 because they slipped through. That was the first, the tightest bore gauge on my paintball gauge that they would slide through without having to push them at all. Okay, I was able to get them through the 684, but I had to push pretty hard to get it through there. You know, obviously I don't want to use that. So 687. They could be a 686, but my ball gauge didn't have a 686 and went from 684 right up to 687. Like I said, they dropped right through that pretty comfortably. So I'm thinking they're 687 these. Okay, now I've heard different stories. So that, you know, depending on what batch you get of these 11 grams, you know, maybe they're bigger, maybe they're smaller. But as it turned out, I kind of lucked out, and I can run them right down this barrel all day long, no problem. So, all right. We are going to load the first magazine of the 11-gram Riot Balls. If I can. I think I am anyways. There we go. It's awkward with this thing. All right. We are hot. All right. Well, look, doesn't look too crazy. Look too crazy. Again, you are watching the experimental zone. So here we go, baby. Here we go. All right, mag 1, shot 1, 11 gram on 36 grams of CO2. All right. Shot 1. 324.9. Shot 2. 318.7 feet per second. Shot 3, 306.0 feet per second. Shot 4, 308 feet per second. Shot 5, 297.9 feet per second. And it should be the last one, shot 6. 288.4 feet per second. And it looks like it's nice and cold. Woo! It's all cold. I want to say we're just about at 500 psi. So I don't know if I'll get a full second mag again. These are heavy, 11 grams. So this is pretty heavy. All right. But we got them off. That first shot, if it sounded a little like it stuttered a little bit, even with this additional restriction on here, it sounded like it stuttered a little bit. I wouldn't say it quite auto-fired, but a little stutter with all that capacity of CO2. But shots 2 through 6, they sounded normal to me. I don't know how it sounded to you guys. Leave your comments if you like. Everything fed really well. Again, I lubricated these two with silicone oil, so. All right, so torquing's probably going to help a little bit. We'll let this recharge a little bit, because this got really cold. Yeah, it's definitely hitting 500 psi now. And the bolt's still activated. Let me see if I got any. I'll know if I still got trigger pressure. I know the X68, you get around 400 psi, you start losing your trigger pressure. On this one, I imagine it's similar. So again, I'm not expecting we're going to get another 6 rounds out of this. When I originally did that test on the 24 gram, I want to say I only got 3 or 4 shots, and then the trigger went dead. I think 4 shots and the trigger went dead. So, you know, this is one more 12 gram really compared to that other test. So I'm giving it a little bit of time, just in hopes of this will continue to build a little pressure. But we're sitting at about 500 psi. Let me show you. Let me turn that laser off before I blast myself in the eyes with it. All right. Oop. Yeah, so we're sitting at about 500 psi. Okay, we'll see what we get out of the second magazine. Again, I'm not too hopeful that we're going to get through. I mean, this is heavy stuff, 11 grams, so it's using up it's taking a lot of gas to push this thing down. And you can't get a better bore match. These 6.87s going down the 6.89 bore barrel. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good in the neighborhood. Yeah. Experimental. All right. Let's do it anyways. 6 more of these 11 grammers. Grammer jammers. For the life of me, I have trouble starting this magazine. All right. Yeah, it's still reading about 500 psi. No leaks, so that's good. All right, let's see what we get until we get a dead trigger. I still have trigger pressure right now anyways. All right, so this will be like mag 2, shot 1, or shot number 7 in total. Here we go. Mag 2, shot 1, 11 gram. 281.1 feet per second. And we're going to get a shot 2 out of mag 2. I got trigger pressure. Here we go, shot 2. 272.7 feet per second. Still have trigger pressure. Shot 3. 259.6. Shot 4. 244.8 feet per second. Shot 5, 219.2 feet per second. And I lost my trigger. One more shot, I would have had 12 rounds. So we almost made it through a second mag. Again, 11 gram ammo. If I had 10 gram ammo in here, or even the 8 gram, I would have definitely got all, well, clearly I would have got 2 magazines, probably more out of 36 grams. So let me see if that trigger, yeah, we're barely reading any pressure in here now. It's still dead. All right, I am just going to, I'll let that gas right out. Yeah, not a lot of gas in there. There's some. And it's a big expansion area. Yep. All right, we unscrew this. I didn't turn this off yet, and I'm not hearing anything coming out, so yeah, that's all set. So this worked out pretty good. Pretty good. Take these out so I can hear myself talk. Yeah, so I mean, that was a pretty good experiment. Pretty psyched about this experiment, actually. Still need a barrel for the gun, a longer barrel, but I'm pretty psyched about this. Odds are whatever barrel I get for this eventually, it's probably not going to be as big, you know, 6, 8, 9. So I won't be running these heavy 11 grams through there unless I can get one. So whenever I want to play around with the heavy stuff, I'll have to use this shorter barrel. But I think it's a good experiment just to kind of see, you know, where are we going to peak? Did I peak with 1100 PSI HPA? And what was it, the 10 gram 684 ART ammo, you know, the 10 gram joules? Was that where I peaked on this? I think I got 75 joules. I don't think I've gotten more than that. Or, you know, can we do something with these 11 grams? You know, we'll see. I'll have the joules updated in the video by the time you see it, as usual. But yeah, I feel like I got some pretty good test data. Pretty good. All right. That is the IntruBuster Generation 2 by Mercury Rise with the Valken expansion stock or CAR stock. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace out.